Okay, what's up, everyone? Welcome. Swinging Bull here with PB Alerts, back with another earnings stream to close out the week. And today we got Applied Materials, which is ticker symbol AMAT. We also have TTWO Interactive Software, which is ticker symbol TTWO. So what we got for today, I believe AMAT reports supposed to report right at 4. We'll see here in a second. Let's see. Yeah, 4 p.m. Eastern is what earnings whispers say. Forecast EPS $2.37. Forecast revenue $7.12 billion. And they were trading pretty well above their anchored VWAP. Their anchored VWAP's probably around 150, 155, around there. Take two, ticker symbol TTWO. They're supposed to report at 4:05 p.m. Eastern. Forecast EPS $1.08. Forecast revenue $1.55 billion. They're also trading above their anchored VWAP. Their anchored VWAP's around, probably call it like 200, maybe. No, probably like 210. So let's go back to the sticks here, because TTOO, or I'm sorry, AMAT, Applied Materials, their earnings should be out if Earnings Whispers was correct about the time. Just going to go to 1 minute chart and see what we got here. AMAT closed the regular session at $174.68 a share, up just about 0.3% on the day. They're getting a negative reaction here. So let me pull up the mother screen and see if we got the data, because yeah, they were supposed to report right at 4. So it's 4:01 p.m. right now. They just wicked down to 169. We go to Webull just for a sec. 2-chart view. Let's see. AMAT. Yeah, they wicked down to $170.10 a share. Now they're right back up. So earnings still getting digested. Let's keep our eye on it. Put TTWO on the screen on my right. I'll go 1 minute chart on these. That's fine. All right, let's look at a couple things here. All right, Applied Materials earnings data is out. Got a nice little graphic here from the earnings correspondent. Appreciate it. We'll keep the chart over here on the left. So again, their expected numbers for EPS was $2.31. Their actual reported numbers, $2.39. So they did beat EPS by 3%. They did miss revenue. The expected numbers was $7.12 billion, and they just reported $7.10 billion, so they missed revenue. Year over year numbers, they do got double-digit growth. They were up 14% for the EPS, 7% for the year over year revenue. EPS was up quarter over quarter. Revenue was down 1% quarter over quarter. So nothing really, exciting with the data, I don't think. I mean, they beat EPS by 3%, so it's not really by a lot. And they missed revenue by a little bit. Not really a ton of growth there with the year over year, and quarter over quarter numbers aren't good at all. But let's see if we got maybe some guidance or something like that. It's 4:03 p.m. We should get the data for TTWO here soon. Coming into the earnings, AMAT sitting on a PE ratio at 21. Have to cross-check that with their peers, see where they fall in the PE range with their industry. EPS was nice and positive at 7.64. They do pay a 1% dividend, but so far getting a negative reaction. We'll see if this ends up turning around. Give me 1 second here, and I'm going to pull up some more info. Okay, let me switch over to TTWO just real quick. Let's see. Okay, Gary on Twitter, what do you think about synthetic indices? Yeah, I haven't really traded that, but I do know what they are. So they're kind of designed to mimic the performance of real world markets, right? And let me see here. It looks like they're created using complex mathematical models and algos. So yeah, haven't really traded that kind of trading before. I'd love to know more. Maybe I'll research that later and see what it's all about. So I appreciate the info there. Jay Frost on YouTube says, here for TT for obvious reasons, happening in May 2026. Okay, TTWO is also getting a negative reaction. So far, both stocks have a negative reaction. Let's just give it a second, wait for the price to kind of settle down a little bit and see what's going to happen with these. Let me go back here on TTWO. So it is 4:05 p.m. Eastern, so that data is probably out as well. While I'm pulling the TTWO data, you see if I can get something to post on the bottom of my screen on YouTube for AMAT. AMAT. All right. We already went over the results, the EPS and revenue and all that, so that's fine. All right. Just a couple business highlights from AMAT. They generated $1.57 billion in cash from operations in Q2 of 2025. Lots of cash from operations. Distributed $2 billion to shareholders via $1.67 billion in buybacks and $325 million in dividends. Semiconductor systems, the revenue rose $5.25 billion, driven by AI and energy efficient computing demand. Got a statement from the CEO here. Yeah, AMAT's definitely getting a negative reaction, so it hasn't bottomed out yet. So we'll keep our eye on it. As soon as it looks like it's starting to bottom out, maybe I'll throw a fib on there. TTWO did come down. They closed the regular session at 232.34. They did come down to 220.50, but they've kind of retraced halfway back up. Candle's still flickering a little bit. This is a 5-minute candle here. Let's just wait a minute and see if it is going to reverse. Go 1-minute chart on this. Let me scroll back up on my other screen. Okay, let's take a look. So we went over a little bit of business highlights. Okay, let me post this on the bottom of my screen on YouTube. This will kind of paint a little bit of a picture here. Let's just do this data here. They did AMAT did make $2.14 billion in positive net income. So, but they're obviously getting a negative reaction. So investors are seeing something that they don't like. Okay, yeah, I've just put that on the bottom of my screen for everyone. So there's the AMAT data, and I'm going to pull up the TTWO data here in a second. All right, so yeah, I mean, not really a lot of growth with the revenue, even though they are very much a net profitable company. And revenue was down quarter over quarter, so maybe that's something investors aren't really liking too much there. Let me jump over to TTWO just real quick, because it does look like they're retracing back up. So this is good news for TTWO bulls. Let's see if it holds. Obviously looks, it's not looking like a dead cat bounce yet. I mean, it's kind of retraced a little further up for it to be a dead cat bounce. Usually those dead cat bounces like 25% retrace and then it bounces, but we've seen crazier things. So let's see. All right, and again the forecast for TTWO. I'll just put that over here on the left side of my screen real quick. So the EPS, the expected number negative 0.05, and forecast revenue 1.55 billion. And their data should be out. So just give me 1 second here. Okay, yeah, I got the data right here. So their revenue 1.58 billion. They did take a net loss of 3.73 billion. So that hurts a little bit. EPS negative 21.08, sees Q1 revenue 1.35 billion to 1.4, EPS negative 0.78 to negative 0.65, net bookings 1.25 billion to 1.3 billion. Let me get some more info here. AMAT still trying to figure out if it's going to bottom out or not. It looked like maybe it wanted to, and that's just 1-minute candles here. So I want to see some more candles print on that one. I'll go. Yeah, we'll leave TTWO on 1-minute chart. Okay, TTWO. We got 3.7 billion in losses before Grand Theft Auto 6. And that's why a lot of people are here. Aren't they doing the Grand Theft Auto 6, right? So lots of attention on that. Okay, got some data for TTWO. We're still waiting for AMAT to bottom, so let me just move this graphic over here just for a second. All right, so let's take a look. All right, EPS was expected to be negative 0.05. This is from the earnings correspondent, by the way. The actual reported was minus 21.08. Holy smokes. Yeah, Zach on YouTube. Yeah, earnings are out for TTWO. They missed EPS by 42,000%. Wowzers. So they took a huge hit on the EPS. They did beat revenue by 2%. That EPS just crushed them, though. EPS down 24% year over year. So like the revenue is like the complete opposite of their EPS. Revenue looks good, double-digit growth year over year and quarter over quarter, but that EPS is, I don't know what's up with that, but they missed EPS by 42,000%, and the EPS was down 24% year over year, and almost 2,869% quarter over quarter. So EPS not good, but revenue numbers aren't I think the revenue is pretty good. They met expectations. So they met the forecast on revenue. That's something, I guess, maybe a silver lining. And oh yeah, that's I was looking at the Bloomberg, the earnings miss, saying they missed expectations by almost 43,000%. So very strange there. As far as maybe some support levels, technical analysis wise, I mean, it's trading at 224 in after hours right now. That puts the price kind of where my 21 EMA is here on the daily chart. That's where it's at right now. We'll see if that level can hold or not, but it's kind of had some. I mean, it's overall been uptrending since it was down in the 130s, right? It's been making higher lows and things of that nature. But yeah, maybe the bottom of this wick here could be some sort of demand. So around 220. So definitely S1 first, as far as after hours goes, I'd like to see it stay above 224, and then maybe S2 like 220 around there. And then S3 probably puts it right around, I'll call that like maybe 210. But let's go back to intraday chart real quick. Oh, the EPS is correct. Okay, yeah, that's crazy how bad they missed the EPS. Kind of unbelievable, isn't it? Okay, let me go back here to TTWO just for another second. Let's see here. Yeah, so TTO from the horse's mouth, they're saying they had 3.7 billion in losses before Grand Theft Auto 6. Okay, here we go. Got a couple things here. Reports Q4 net bookings 1.58 billion. The consensus was 1.55 billion. Let's see. Results include impairment charges of 3.55 billion related to goodwill and 176 million for acquisition-related intangible assets. We achieved outstanding results in our 2025 fiscal year, with each of our labels contributing meaningful to our performance. Okay, it sounds like they're going to sugarcoat a bunch of comments here, but their fiscal 2026 outlook reflects continuing positive momentum, with net bookings guidance of 5.9 to 6 billion as we bring our exciting lineup to market, including Grand Theft Auto 6. They're saying that's going to be released in 2027. If anyone was curious as to when they're releasing that, you're going to have to wait a bit longer for Grand Theft Auto 6. They're saying 2027. And they expect to achieve record levels of net bookings that will establish a new baseline for their business and set them on a path of enhanced profitability. All right, I'm going to post some of this EPS and Q1 net bookings info. Give me one sec here. I just can't believe how bad they missed EPS. That's really interesting. Let's see, S27 Golf Academy bought more AMAT for earnings. Yeah, I mean, like I said, not financial advice, but if you're ever going to dip your toe in the water before earnings, make sure you got a plan to maybe trickle into it slowly or something, because we just never know what the reaction is going to be. Obviously, guidance based and stuff like that. But let me post this. So why did AMAT go down? Yeah, we were just talking about that for a second. Let me see here. I'll go back to that just for a few. So what we got here is, let me go back over here. All right, they missed revenue by a little bit. All right, and let's see what else, what other info we got. I know that they're okay. Here we go here. All right, so they kept guidance in line, so they didn't mess with guidance. Their revenue, they did not meet forecasts on revenue, so I think that's a contributing factor to why it's kind of selling off here. Let's look at some other things. And the CEOs really aren't saying anything like forward looking that seems impactful. So they're not really saying anything to kind of excite investors. Corporate expenses, negative 245 million. Let's see here. Also, let's look at this. Adjusted operating income, the margin is 28.5%. And let's look at some other things here. Okay. I think the big thing is investors were thinking they were going to beat a little bit more than what they did. Number one, they missed revenue. Okay, they didn't hit revenue. And I think investors were thinking the double-digit growth year over year. The growth was only 7% on the revenue side. So, like I said, not really exciting investors. I think they were hoping for a little more with the earnings data, and it just didn't. It's not pleasing investors right now. I don't think their earnings are bad. So maybe this could be looked at as maybe a discount from where the stock was trading before they reported. But, financially and fundamentally, as far as being a profitable company, we can take a look at the financials real quick. They are a profitable company. I just think investors were thinking that they would kind of grow a little bit more. The past two earnings, the year over year numbers were not good on the positive net income side. They were actually double digit in the red on that. You can see the sliding scale of net income. So I think investors maybe were hoping that their net income would be a little bit better, and it's just not. Let me see here. Debt to asset 44%. That's pretty good actually. But so yeah, I think investors just wanted to be kind of surprised with better data. And the data more or less, I think, came in line. Like I said, the EPS of 2.39, they did beat the forecast. The forecast was 2.31, but it wasn't like some huge beat, right? So I just don't think investors are impressed, and they were probably hoping for better data. So that's kind of what's going on with AMAT. Overall, I still think it's a good company. They're going to be just fine. They are a profitable company. I mean, their positive net income is like over $1 billion a quarter. Let me just double check that. Yeah, it ranges from like 1 billion to 2 billion a quarter, and that's positive net income. So overall, I mean, it's still a good company. It's just investors aren't excited, right? I don't think it's necessarily bad data, but because investors aren't excited, there's a little bit of selling going on. I mean, it's down $8 or $9 a share for a stock, trading at $175, $8 or $9, a little selling going on here. It's not the end of the world. It's not terribly bad either. Maybe it could be looked at as a little bit of a discount. Now, don't forget they got, from Monday morning, they do have this gap to the downside here. I'm sure everyone's seen it. It kind of puts the price upper 150, it's like 158 once that gap gets filled. And of course, that was a market-wide gap. Most of the companies worth a damn have this gap, right? Because that was in reaction to the 90-day pause for the tariff. So, you know, it's getting a negative reaction now. This could be momentum to go ahead and come down here and fill that gap. So possibly once that gap fills, if and when it fills, eventually it'll fill. It's unresolved price action, right? So S1 on AMAT from here, 158 bucks a share. That'd be my S1. Kind of lines up with the 21 EMA on the daily too. So 158 S1. I'd be looking for support around there. And also, AJ, you're absolutely right. AJ from YouTube, there could be a secondary move once they do the earnings call. All right. Matter of fact, what time is it? Okay, it's 4:20 p.m. And we do see that once we get the earnings call, then the higher ups will explain in a little more detail about the guidance and what their plans are. And sometimes we see a secondary move. So let's go ahead and show everyone how to get to the earnings call, and I'll find out what time it is. Give me 1 second. I'll pull that info up for everybody. Okay. And we'll come back to TTWO in a second because I know a lot of people are here for that as well. And it looks like they're kind of bottoming out a little bit. This is a 15-minute candle. We'll go 5 minute real quick. Yeah, it could be bottoming out. We'll come back to that in a second. But AMAT, how to get to the earnings call. I just Googled AMAT Investor Relations. You can probably click the first link that pops up or just click on events, but we'll take a look at their homepage, their investor relation homepage, and just take a little peek. All right, so here we go. Yep, and then you can get the press release for their second quarter results right here on the homepage. And then we're gonna scroll down and we're gonna go to events, right? So this is the latest filings and reports. Scroll down just a little bit. So this is the event section, and you can see right here, webcast. All right, Q2 2025 webcast. So we're going to click on that. And let me actually go back to here, events. And I'm going to post this link for everyone. Okay, so right here, this is how you're going to get to their events. And you see the link right here, Q2 2025 Applied Materials Earnings Conference Call. Okay, so I'm going to click on that. And let me just post this link, and then everyone can screenshot it. Okay, so AMAT's, you read some guidance, and they're very bullish about Q3. Okay, that's promising. Let me actually get the shorter link for their web call. I'll post this one. This will be easier to screenshot and type in. And then you're just going to scroll down to the conference call link down here. So let me post this, give everyone a shot to screenshot that. And looked like AMAT was trying to possibly bottom out a little bit. TTWO looks more promising that it's going to reverse. Throw a little Fibonacci on here, and I just want to see where this is at. Okay, it's kind of right where the golden fib is. It's going to be right around 228 a share. So that's kind of where it's trading at right now. So it looks good that it's recovered the golden fib level. So confidence that it is in fact going to retrace should go up a little bit. Next level, I'm just going to call it 230. So 228, 230, and then back to baseline at 232 for where they closed at. That's going to be the levels to the upside. It's fighting with the golden ratio right now. So 228, key level. If it can close like a 5-minute candle above there, it'd probably be on to something. Let me go to, okay, so I got the link for the web call for AMAT on the bottom of my screen. We went over their earnings data. And let me also look at some other things. Yeah. I mean, the Q3 guidance, they are strong numbers, but they did kind of come in line a little bit, okay? The estimate for Q3 guidance for the revenue was 7.2 billion. That's what it was coming into this earnings. What they announced with the earnings data just now was their Q3 revenue was going to be between 6.7 billion to 7.7 billion. So the forecast is kind of, in the middle, right? So their Q3 guidance came in line, but nonetheless, it's still strong guidance. They didn't adjust it down. So I wouldn't think that would be a bad thing at all. And same thing with their guidance on the EPS. The estimate was 2.31, and this is for AMAT. And they just reported that it's going to be between 2.15 to 2.55. So again, guidance kind of came in line. Adjusted gross margin, 48.3%. Okay. That looks like it might have, that guidance is a little bit higher than what they reported for Q2. The margin in Q2 looks like 36%. So the gross margin is higher for Q3. And they also have unallocated revenue of 20 million. And let's see what else we got here. CEO is the CEO. His name's Gary. High performance, energy efficient AI computing remains the dominant driver of semiconductor innovation, and Applied is working closely with our customers and partners to accelerate the industry's roadmap. We're very well positioned at major technology inflections in fast growing areas of the market, which supports our multi-year growth trajectory. All right. So with that said, just a little summary here. They did miss revenue forecasts. EPS up a little bit. They beat that by a little bit. And the Q3 guidance looks like it's just kind of in line. So they didn't increase the guidance. I think if they would have increased the guidance, we'd be looking at a positive reaction on AMAT right now. So I think maybe investors thought that they would increase the guidance and they just didn't really do it. However, they didn't decrease the guidance either. And again, I like AMAT as a company. Their financials are pretty good. Their fundamentals are solid. If anything, if you're an AMAT bull, I'd be looking at maybe selling cash secured puts on this maybe tomorrow or something. Let's just see what the June ones are selling for. Yeah, shoot. This 160, it's trading at 167 now. So you could probably give yourself a little bit of cushion, but you could collect 300 actually like 300 to 500 between the 160 and 165 strike. If you sold the 165 cash secured put, that okay, mid price is around $5, so that's $500. So I don't even need to do the calculator. Your technical cost basis would only be 160 on that if you get it signed. If you don't get it signed, you sell another round of cash secured put, and then just keep track of your premium on a little spreadsheet on the side. Then once you maybe you can get 2 or 3 rounds of cash secured puts in before you even get a sign, and you accumulate like $1,500 in credit, and if you ultimately get assigned at 165 but you've already done 3 rounds of cash secured puts and brought in 500 per round, just do the math. 165 minus 15, even if you get assigned at 165, you'll be sitting on a 150 cost basis, which pretty good cost basis to have on AMAT, I think. Go to the bigger time frames. So again, 158 is going to be if and when this gap fills. That could definitely be a level of interest, I think, on AMAT, and would be considered a pretty good deal on the stock, I think. So just some things to keep in mind. Again, I don't think their earnings are bad. It's just I think investors were hoping to be a little more surprised than the data they released. So again, if it was me and just my opinion, I'd be looking at this as more of a discount for the AMAT bulls out there. Let's go back here and look at TTWO. Just real quick. It's about 4:30 p.m. Eastern. TTWO still trying to hang out here by the golden fib. Again, that 168, or I'm sorry, click on here, the 228 level on TTWO. I really think that's an important level. Let's go 1 minute chart. You can see it's kind of been fighting with it a little bit. Go 5 minute chart. Current 5 minute candle's printing kind of a doji looking candle, so we'll see. Right now on TTWO, go back here just for a second. I'm still really surprised on how bad they missed EPS. Very, very interesting. But they did beat revenue by almost 2%. So I think revenue probably a little more important than EPS, right? There's Grant. And then they said they won't be. Also, they did TTWO did miss their guidance a little bit. Okay. And they also announced they're not releasing Grand Theft Auto 6 until 2027. So again, TTWO on the bigger time frames. Here, I'm going to get rid of this fib real quick. It's trading at 227 right now. Obviously was trading sideways back here, printed quite a few dojis in a row. Probably right under there, probably be a good deal on the stocks. So like probably around 220. I might be interested in this at 220 if and when it gets down there. But 15-minute candles, it's working on a new 15-minute print right now. Kind of doji looking, so a little undecided. Overall, there is a buy-side imbalance on TTWO, so it looks like there is interest on the stock. I mean, it's down 2.3% right now, and after hours down a little over $5 a share. AMAT not really catching a break yet. Still trying to figure out where it's going to bottom. So just be a little patient with it. Be a little patient with it. No point in catching a falling knife. Wait for the selling to stop, or at the very least slow down, and then just have a plan on how you're going to allocate your money. Maybe not all at once. Maybe trickle in slowly. Over a little bit of time. Make sure that the bottom's in, right? Like I said, AMAT's earnings were not bad. Here, I'll show everyone this graphic real quick. The earnings weren't bad. Again, I just think investors thought they were going to beat a little more and kind of surprise them positively a little more, and it just didn't happen. But overall, revenue's up 7% year over year. Net income, still very much a profitable company. Net income's up 24% year over year, and EPS up 14% year over year, and the margin up 4% year over year. So not bad earnings. So me personally, looks like there's a discount going on this stock right now. But again, just be careful, be safe, trade smart. This is definitely a stock you could have in a longer term portfolio. Maybe just trickle into it and make sure that the bottom's in, right? And another thing with AMAT, I want to point out, and this will probably clarify things a little bit better for everyone. This is a statement directly made by the CEO, and I think this is what spooked investors a little bit. Not really spooked, but just kind of disappointed investors. Literally, the CEO of the company said, despite the dynamic economic and trade environment, we have not seen significant changes to customer demand. So that can be looked at in a few ways. So he's saying that the dynamic economic and trade environment, that he's basically insinuating that it usually that would equate to negative changes in customer demand. So the CEO is just saying there hasn't been any significant changes to customer demand, but he's also saying that there's no increased customer demand. So just kind of like a flat deal there, where yeah, demand's not going down, but it's kind of not going up either, right? So what would that tell you? That it's just nothing really fantastical for investors to get excited about. So just a couple things to keep in mind really with AMAT. And my opinion is overall, I like the company. I mean, just take a quick peek at their income statement and their balance sheet, PE ratio, EPS, those things of that nature. And they even pay a 1% dividend, little cherry on top. So I wouldn't have a problem having this in my longer term account. But again, with our longer term investments, we want to kind of trickle into them, not kind of go all in at once, right? So just be smart about it, and you could build a nice position with AMAT. I mean, it's only down 4%. It's not like it's taken a beating. I mean, I know the candle looks kind of a little crazy here on this chart, but just zoom out a little bit. If it's trading at 167, go to the daily chart. And, technically it hasn't even breached this gap to the downside yet. The top of this gap to the downside is around 165 and some change. It's trading at 167 and some change right now. So even though it's getting a negative reaction, it hasn't even breached this downside gap yet. Eventually, I think that gap's going to fill, of course. And the bottom of that gap is right around like 158. So, 158, I'd call it, let's see here. Yeah, like 158 to 159, maybe call it like a $1 range down there at the bottom of that gap. I'd be looking to maybe pick some of this up down there once that gap fills. Once the gap fills and that price action is resolved, maybe we see a little impulse up from there. But, like I said, just you got to be smart with your hard-earned money. And as long as you have a plan with how you're going to allocate it, if you're an AMAT fan, you'll be okay. The company is a good company. I just think, investors weren't really excited and thrilled, but on the other side of the coin, their earnings weren't bad. So this would be one I'd be looking at as this could probably be a little bit of a discount from when the price was trading at before the earnings. I think AMAT's going to be just fine. But again, just be a little patient, wait for some higher lows to start forming, and then, like I'd say sometimes in the Discord, sometimes we sacrifice a little bit of the upside just to make sure that, okay, we're more confident that it has in fact formed a bottom and it's starting to reverse, and then, I feel a little bit better about the trade, and I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of the upside so I can get that confirmation, right? So that's what's going on with AMAT. TTWO, still seeing a pretty good buy side imbalance, even though they're down here in red and after hours down 2%. Let me go back to, let me just make sure I got everything I need on TTWO. Give me one sec here, refresh my page. 4:37 p.m. Eastern. We also go back to the Discord to make sure I didn't miss anything. Datone, you were thinking of getting an option for Google. It seems good for swinging. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I'll take a look at that in a second. Take a look at what those Google leaps are costing. Let's see here. Well, not necessarily a leap, maybe just a swing trade, right? So I know those leaps are probably going to be pretty pricey. All right, let's take a look at that right now. Now that we've kind of got our reaction. So AMAT, initial negative reaction, wait for higher lows to start forming, wait for it to bottom out. I always say wait for the selling to stop, but at the very least, wait for the selling to slow down. And you'd probably be okay, maybe trying to get a discount on this. Okay, someone on YouTube, you got a strike call at 162.50 for AMAT. Expires next Friday. Unfortunately, I don't think you're not going to be able to sell it now. You have to wait until market open tomorrow, unless, I don't know, are they doing options and after hours now? They've made some pretty wild changes recently with some of the options rules and stuff, but yeah, you might have to wait till tomorrow morning and see what the rest of the after hours price action is going to do. But that 162.50 call, I mean, looks like you bought that's an in the money call, right? So I mean, I know it's probably going to be worth less than when you bought it, but at least it was in the money, and you shouldn't get hurt by the theta as bad than the out of the money calls. The more in the money it is, the more it kind of replicates synthetic shares, if you will. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we're getting a negative reaction. So anyone that had calls is, we definitely want this to start retracing back up. And again, maybe at the earnings call with the CEO, let me actually post that link again. Oh, it's already on the bottom of my screen. Go to that earnings call with the CEO, and maybe we get a secondary move once maybe they clarify some more of the guidance or something like that. All right, let me go back over here. I'll just take a look at Google just real quick here. I usually do the Class A shares. And let me see. So you're thinking about getting an option for Google. It seems like good for swinging. What are your thoughts? We're gonna take a look at this daily chart real quick. Yeah, I mean, I know the price action's been a little sloppy on Google. Lots of wicks, if you will. A couple gaps thrown in the mix. Nonetheless, it's making higher lows, isn't it? Even though it's sloppy price action. So, just, I mean, one simple thing you can do if you're a range trader, if you're looking at my screen right now, usually use this regression trend here on TradingView. It's pretty neat. I'm kind of going to show you it's kind of ping-ponging in a range right now, right? So technical analysis wise, if you're thinking about getting a call, you're kind of getting it on the top half of the range, if you will. If it was me, I'd have a little bit of patience and I'd wait for maybe a test of the bottom of this range. That would probably be an ideal time to buy a call option, right? It's a very simple strategy on technical analysis wise that could make your life easier because, I know people that they'll send me a DM and they're like, yeah, I just bought this call. What do you think? And, I pull the chart up, bigger time frames, of course. And literally, I just do my little paintings and it'll clearly show they bought the call at the top of the range where it's been known to reject that. So just simple things like this before you actually entering and buying the calls, pull up some bigger time frames, see if it's ping-ponging around in a range where it's making higher lows and higher highs, kind of like how the Google's doing right here on my screen. It's not 100% and it doesn't work all the time, but what's trading? We're trying to get an edge, right? No one can predict the future and what's going to happen, but if we can get a little bit of an edge and increase our chances of success, then that's how we make money. And if you're thinking about swinging calls on a stock, just check. It doesn't take long to check. See if it's trading in some sort of range. And the ideal spot to buy the call would be at the bottom of that range, right? For expectation that it's going to continue ranging and go back up to the top of the range. So that tone on Discord, I hope that maybe clarifies on how I would look at it. But if you have a little bit of patience, and then when the time is right, boom, you can pull the trigger, and I think you'd be in good shape. Again, not financial advice, but I'm just trying to tell you like how I would approach it, right? So. And look, sometimes we'll set an alert for, once Google gets down to a certain price, just go ahead and set the alerts and then you'll get pinged when it hits. Sometimes it won't go back down and hit it and you might miss it, but it's a lot better than buying a call option at the top of the range. And then this comes ping-ponging back down and now you're down a bunch on your call, right? So me personally, I like being more safer. And if that means sacrificing a little bit of time and even missing a trade every now and then because my alert doesn't go off, that's okay because you're not losing nothing and you're being safer and more responsible with your money. I think, just my opinion. But that's all. I hope that helps. Maybe clarify on how you should go about this potential Google call you got in mind. You could just make sure you look at a couple things and you set yourself up better just by doing something like this. So hope that helps. Let me just go back to let's go back to AMAT and see if it's just kind of stuck down here. I mean, I guess it's not selling off anymore because this is a 15-minute candle. Let me go 5-minute. It hasn't made a new after hours low yet. The current after hours low is 165.48. Kind of just hanging out right above that. Don't really see any signs of it starting to curl up yet. Outside of these little green candles that it printed on the 5-minute, but I'd like to see a few 5-minute green candle prints in a row, and then there might be some interest on the stock at this level. You can always cross-check the order book and see if there's an imbalance. Right now, it's kind of just balanced out, really. Bid and ask are kind of even. You can see here on the graphic as well, but So, just be a little patient with AMAT, and I think it could turn into a pretty good deal because, again, I do like AMAT as a company fundamentally and financially. I think it's a solid company. They just didn't really impress investors too much, and a little bit of selling going on, but they'll be okay. TTWO, extremely large EPS miss in the tens of thousands negative miss, right? So craziness going on with their EPS numbers. But they're kind of just hanging out here as well. They closed the regular session at 232 and some change. They did come down to 220.50, so they were down $12 a share. They've since retraced 50% of that. So maybe TTWO starting to bottom out in the mid 220s, probably around 225 a share. S1 probably be 224. And then, of course, S2 would be the after hours low it made at 220.50. But, again, these are 15-minute candles. I usually like to look at the bigger time frames. Too much noise on the 1 minute for me, but to each their own. When I do scalp SPY in the indexes, I do trade 1 minute sometimes for my entries and exits, but then I'll watch the 5 minute to stay in the trade a little longer. And that's when I'm scalping during the day. So yeah, hopefully TTWO doesn't make the infamous H pattern. We trade those bearish H patterns all the time in the Discord. So let's see if it can hold up here. Again, it's kind of battling with 225 right now. So let's see if that can hold. But S1 is going to be 224. S2 is going to be around 220 and some change. So, but yeah, looks like we got our reactions. Nothing really too exciting, like to have popcorn out and stuff like that. They both got negative reactions, but they're not really big negative reactions. Nothing that's like crazy selling. I mean, a little bit of selling, but nothing crazy. So with that said, let's wrap things up here just with a reminder. Don't forget, we have our second annual Traders Paradise in-person event. Last year we had it in Delray Beach. I live in Florida, so I just drove over. But this year it's in Chicago, so I'm going to have to jump on a plane this time. But that's okay. Looking forward to meeting everyone there. We've already sold a bunch of tickets. It's at the Hyatt Regency in Chicago from June 9th through the 12th. And I'll just do a little recap of what we're going to be doing at the in-person event. There's a link in the description of the stream I'm on right now that says Traders Paradise 2025. Click on that link. It'll take you to the page I'm on right now if you're looking at my screen. And this is where you can buy your tickets. So it's a 4-day event. We're going to be live trading at market open every day. So make sure you bring your laptop so you can trade right along with us. Probably be trading the opening moves on some blue chips and stuff like that. Lots of fun. Going to do a lot of interactive workshops. It's going to be a live masterclass on advanced options. I'm going to be running that session. That's what I do in the Discord. Do a lot of credit spreads, a lot of debit spreads, do a lot of condors. I run a lot of the wheel strategy, cash secured puts, covered calls. Do a lot of buy plus right strategies when I'm trying to capture dividends. I have a lot of fun with it. So I'll be running that session. And then there's also going to be an AI and text-based deep dive. There's going to be guidance on how to develop as an investor. That's with Lou Bassanisi, kind of a famous guy. He's got a big following. He's been on Fox News, MSNBC, a bunch of major financial media outlets. So Lou Bassanisi is going to be there in person with his own session on how to develop as an investor because he's more of an investor. And then we're releasing a new trading view indicator. There's going to be some private dinners and things like that. A lot of high-level discussions going on behind closed doors at these dinners. So yeah, I mean, there's 3 tickets to choose from. There's a bronze ticket, a silver ticket, and a gold ticket. I do have to mention we sold out of the gold tickets. There's no more of those left. That was our highest ticket. So let me just go over the other 2 that are left. So the bronze package, that includes 2 days out of the 4-day event. So you get basically half of the event, but it still includes a lot of stuff. You're still going to get the live trading every day at market open with us, the AI and text-based deep dive, the trading view indicator, very nice intricate workshops we're going to do for everyone. and you're going to get the presentation from Lou Bassanisi. It's just going to be a lot of fun. So the silver ticket, of course, has everything in the bronze ticket, but you get in 3 days of the conference, 3 days out of the 4 days. And that includes everything in the bronze package. Plus, it's going to include the advanced options and swing trading class. So you're going to get my session with the silver ticket. I don't believe the bronze ticket includes the advanced options, because I'm going to be releasing new strategies, showing people different ways to trade, because there's so many different ways to trade. A lot of people just get stuck on buying calls, want the price to go up. I'm going to buy a put, I want the price to go down. Well, I trade differently. Okay. I can trade neutral markets, bear markets, bull markets. I got spreads for anything you can think of, multi-leg options. We can manage legs individually after the spreads open, depending on market conditions. And I just do a lot of multi-leg options. Some of my options have 4 legs on them. So that's the silver ticket. You're going to get that class that I'm going to teach. The owner of the company, Austin, his name's Big Quench on Discord. With the silver ticket, he's going to show everyone his advanced range trading strategy. He's made a ton of money over the years trading it. He's going to show everyone exactly how he does it. All right, that's the silver ticket. And then just a bunch of other stuff included with the silver ticket as well. Unfortunately, the gold ticket's sold out. I'm pretty sure Nikki can confirm, but I think that's sold out. So right now, we just got the bronze and silver tickets. They are 30% off right now. I think it's good until tomorrow. And if you do end up buying the tickets tonight, or whenever you do buy the tickets, call the hotel right after that. It's the Hyatt Regency in O'Hare, Chicago. Right after you get the ticket, call the hotel, because we blocked off 50 hotel rooms, and those are all discounted rooms. So you want to try and get the discount on the hotel room. And I'm looking forward to staying at that hotel. It's real nice. But yeah, with that said, I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. Just looking at the reactions of the 2 earnings. Again, both of them negative reactions. TTWO looks like it probably has a better chance of maybe retracing back up. It's already retraced 50% of the move, and now it's printing some dojis. So maybe it ends up in some sort of accumulation phase or consolidation phase, and ends up retracing the rest of the way back up to baseline from where it closed at 232 and some change. Keep your eyes on it in the remainder of after hours. Got about another 3 hours of after hours action, and of course the pre-market data. But if TTWO starts making higher lows, hey, might be onto something there that it is going to retrace, and maybe it starts trending in the other direction tomorrow. But just gotta wait and see. AMAT, again, I don't think their earnings were terrible. I just think investors thought they were going to be a little more excited, and they weren't. Got some selling going on. Overall, it's a solid company. They even pay a little dividend. PE ratio, EPS, all nice and positive. They're very much a profitable company with positive net income. Debt to asset ratio, from what I saw, was pretty good. Yeah, it's only 44%. Like I said, it's a solid company. So if I was an AMAT bull, I'd look at this as a possible discount, and maybe start selling some cash secured puts, where you can kind of get a discount on the stock from where it's trading at the time when you open the cash secured put. Or you could generate some income, maybe start selling some put credit spreads on it or something like that. And if you don't know how to do any of that, join the Discord. Links in the description. Tag me in the chat once you join. I'll come over and say what's up to you, and I can teach you all about spreads and anything you could possibly want to know about spreads. All right. But yeah, with that said, I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. That is the last earnings stream for this week. I do these streams every week, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. We come on here, beginning of the week, I pick out 2 tickers for each day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 2 popular tickers. We come on here, we get the earnings data live, we see the stock reaction live, we go over some trade setups and stuff like that. We look at some levels that may be of interest for the remainder of after hours and pre-market data, things of that nature. And we have a lot of fun. I enjoy it. And, we've got a lot of people showing up and hanging out. So, but yeah, with that said, I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their night. And I'll see everyone in the very next stream. Cheers and have a great night.